Hello, how are you today? And we are all welcome to It's All About Love. It's a pleasure to be with you today again. And my name is Hannah. So today I'm going to be talking about love, especially for God and for people, and to connect all this love, to interface all this love. We have here two nice people that are doing everything for love. That's why today I'm going to be talking about It's All About Love. Love is the most beautiful feeling that you have in the entire universe. There is no doubt about it. It's a healthy attitude of our hearts. And these two people that I have here today are going to give their experience of love for people, but above all for God. Because like I said, and I repeat, it's all about love. And the love is for God and people. Her name is SUGI, and his name is SAHAN, isn't it?
Yes.
That's beautiful, those beautiful names. And they have an incredible story to tell you. And that's why here they are today, and we're pleased to have them here, because this story is an inspiring story, and inspiring because it's full of love, like I said. So, SUGI and SAHAN I consider them missionaries for God, missionaries for people, and they are on a mission to help others, and because they love God, isn't it? Above all. So they live in UK, in United Kingdom, but they were interested in those less fortunate in Africa. And they heard about the country of Uganda, and where we see that there are loads of poverty in Uganda, and they wanted to help. And they wanted to give something from themselves to them. And because really what inspired them, it was their compassion for the other, but their love that they felt from God flowing through them into these people, that they really needed them so much. So, SUGI and SAHAN, it's a pleasure to have you here today. We really love your presence here today, because you are an inspirational people to everyone. You are an example to many people. And so, tell us, because I mentioned what you do to the viewers, what you do in general, isn't it? Generally, you mentioned that you love God, you are doing everything because you love God, you love people, and so you go to Uganda and you help people. But what took you there? Why did you do that? And when did you start? Tell us, tell the viewers, when did you start, and what the reason? What was the reason for you to start? Of course, all of you know why, because I already said because of love for people and God, but they have their own thoughts, ideas, why, isn't it? So tell us.
Okay, so if I start, and then probably Sahan will say a few things as well. So if I start, about 14 years ago, one of our very good friends, a gentleman, a British gentleman, he puts out messages online, and a pastor in a very remote place from Uganda saw this message, and he contacted him to say, we don't get these sort of messages and this teaching, please would you come over to us and teach us? And so this gentleman said normally he would just communicate online, and he wouldn't really go. But this time he felt in his heart he must reply, he must go, he must respond. So he called Sahan and I and said, I really feel I want to go to Uganda. Please, will you come with me? I want you to come and support me. So we didn't know at all why we were going there, what we were going to do. We have never been to Uganda before. We have never been to any part of Africa except Egypt by that time. So, but we felt, no, he's answering this call. he's a very good friend of ours. We must go with him. We must support him. So having said that, both of us were praying, God, we feel it was right for us to go. But I was personally, to give my personal testimony, I was praying to God saying, but Lord, I don't even know these Ugandans. I don't know their history. I don't know where they've come from, what makes them tick. I don't really, to be honest, have that deep love for them. I don't know them. I find it difficult to really love them. Why am I going there? And even as I was praying, just I think 1 or 2 days, and the second day, my daughter, who didn't know anything about this, brought a book to me and said, Mama, this is a book you would really enjoy reading. And would you believe it, this book was about Ugandans.
Wow.
And immediately I knew this was an answer to prayer. God, this is a sign from God himself.
It was. It was clearly.
Yes, it was.
Really interesting, because some of us sometimes think, or some people think, the prayer doesn't matter much because it looks like God doesn't listen to us. Really, God really listened to us. But, and then He answers us in different ways, but you have to be attentive to what He wants to tell us. And you have to be in connection with Him and be attentive to what He wants us to, what He wants us to do, to listen, be attentive. And it was what you did. So you were praying, God was listening to you, and you were attentive because you felt and you saw your daughter coming to you, telling you, answering your prayer, because it was an answer to your prayer,
Definitely.
isn't it?
Definitely.
Isn't it? So you were attentive because you really were focused about this issue. And another thing that I really liked what Suji said is this. She was talking to God and she was telling him, look, I don't have enough love for these people. And really, she was really talking from her heart. She was really being very, extremely transparent with him. And this is what God wants, transparency. He knew what she had in her heart and what she had in her soul and mind. And He wanted her to go to Uganda.
So the moment I saw my daughter bringing this book and I opened that book, I immediately knew this was a sign from God and He wants us to go. And this book, if I can quickly tell you, this book is called The Girl Soldier.
Interesting.
And it was written by 2 people.
Yes.
It's a very unique book because it's co-authored. And the names of these people, would you believe, it's actually a missionary herself who had been living in Uganda for many, many years, is one of the authors. Her name is Faith.
Yeah.
And then the second author was a girl soldier who had, after many years, escaped from being a girl soldier. So her name is Grace. So this book was authored by Faith and Grace.
Wonderful.
Anyway, to cut a long story short, I read this book, and as I was reading this book, you know, God just broke my heart for these people.
Wonderful.
And I sensed I could only say God's love for them just filling my heart. And I knew, before, I didn't know who are these people, I don't really love them that much, why do I want to go there? And when I read this book, by the time I finished this book, my heart was so full of love for these Ugandans.
That God works in different ways, isn't it? To catch people, to make people to see life with clarity. And so you saw that you had to go. And this is how God sometimes works with people. For example, you're giving me this testimony of you reading this book and you got such immense love for them because you really connected with it. And not long ago I was reading about a missionary to Africa too, to a different country. And she wanted to help people, but she didn't know how to. And so her husband told her about a country in Africa, and this country, it was suffering a lot because of civil war, people were dying, didn't have food, and she didn't know much about this country. And I think although she wanted to help, but she didn't have enough love for them, like you didn't. And from the moment she started reading what was happening in this country, because then they received information and she read. And when she read and finalized a reading about this country, she really was filled with love and compassion for these people, and she had answered to go to this country and help those in this country. And she went on her own, and then her husband went because he couldn't go when she went, when she did. So it is more or less the same. See, God uses people in similar ways, in different ways, so many different ways, but all for the good, for all good, for the good of people, and it's beautiful. And then let us know what happened then, because then you went to Uganda, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you went with your husband.
That's right.
Yes, Sahan. Sahan, you accompanied your wife.
That's right. And we had no idea where this mission was going to be. All morning it was going to be like a same conference where we were going to be speaking to church leaders, and in the evening it was going to be an outreach gathering.
In Uganda.
In Uganda.
Yeah.
And when we started, the pastor took us to where this work was, the mission and the outreach.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the back of beyond, it was way outside the normal tourist trail. It was absolutely in the back of beyond, in the bushes, you know.
Oh God, yeah.
And we were going on roads, which are not, we couldn't even call them
Of
roads.
course.
And it was amazingly, I'd never been on a mission like this, but it went off by the grace of God, it went off so well.
Wonderful.
For a week we were there, and at the end of the week, we in fact ended up baptizing just over 120 people.
Wonderful, so beautiful.
And
Just viewers, just to let you know that, like you said initially, it happened 14 years ago, isn't it?
That's right.
When they went for the first time to this country in Uganda, and then your first experience, it was baptizing these people, conferences, and in the middle of the roads as well, like many people do when they go to this missions to these countries.
Exactly.
And then,
so then, having, if everything went so well, and we thought this was really a wonderful work of God. We never expected anything like this. But at the end of the week, they wanted us to meet up with some of the widows in that area.
okay,
See, in that area, life expectancy is less than 40 years, which people find unbelievable,
Yes,
but that
it's
is true today. So many children, they have lost their parents and are being brought up by extended family members. That's how the community works there, by often grandparents who are hardly able to look after them. So they said they would like us to meet them.
Yes.
And we went around and to meet them, and we could see they were looking for something from us. Yes, we've given them, shared the good news of Jesus Christ. On the other hand, for us to just give this message and walk away, we felt this surely cannot be right.
Yes.
If we have just given the word, given the message of Jesus Christ, the good news, we felt, my wife and I felt, we have to do something more to show them God's love in action.
Yes, that's the beautiful word, God's love in action. This is what this Susie and Sahan did. They felt that it was not enough just to go and baptize them and to go to the conferences with them, but because they saw them in so much need they had, and according to the circumstances they saw, their heart told them, and their mind and their soul and spirit told them to do much more. So then you came back to UK, and then you decided what to do more, isn't it?
Yes.
So when I I didn't know what we were going to do,
Yeah.
but it was Sahan, my husband's thought. He had this thought, he said, okay, we can't help everybody there.
Of course.
There are so many orphans there, because that was the time when lots of, like our age group people have died of AIDS. That was the main killer there. Loads of people had died of AIDS. And of course, a lot of them die at childbirth, because it's a country where the women go on giving birth to babies.
Yes.
They have a very large families. They have 6, 7, 8, 9 children, and eventually the mother is so weak that while she's giving birth to a baby, she dies.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing. So which means then all these children are left orphans, because the father very often, they have different wives as well.
Yes.
So there's no father, there's no
Mm.
mother, and then these children are sent to their grandparents to be
Yes.
looked after. So Sahan said, we know there are hundreds of orphans in that place. We can't help everybody, but let's start just helping a few, whoever we can help.
Yes.
Let's help with what we have, with what God has given us.
Yes.
Let us start, and that's how we started helping.
Yes, we said we'll do what we can with
Yeah,
what
of
we
course.
have.
It's what you have to do, because sometimes people think straight away we can't. But you have to try to do, even if you have just a hand of flour or bread, just with that thing you can do something, isn't it? Just with £5 you can do something. Not much, but you can do something. Start from what you have, and then that is going to increase. But God wants us to start from where you are. Even if you have more, a lot, or less, or nothing, you want to start doing something, even if it is just words initially, or kindness. And then you go improve, and He gives you grace, to do more and more and more if you start acting to help others, to give your heart to others and Him. Then you help us to see things that you never thought, and He surprises us just to do it more and more, isn't it?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
But then you came to here, and did you start contacting these people, or did you got the? Of course, you got the contacts, isn't it? And or maybe because from what I know, you start sponsoring children, isn't it?
No, so what happened was, you say.
Yes, what happened, we then got in touch with the pastor
The
who
one pastor, that's
In
all the
Uganda.
contact.
In
Yeah,
Uganda.
that's
Okay,
all the
okay.
contact we had.
was this one pastor. So we said, okay, can you find us 30 of the most vulnerable
30
at risk,
children.
30
30 children.
30
yeah.
the most vulnerable at-risk children,
Yes.
and we will support them through primary education.
Wow, wonderful. See what he's saying, what they are saying, what Suji and Sahan are saying. It's incredible, it's extraordinary, it's beautiful, showing their heart, showing God's heart and God's love. It's just, these people, 30 children,
30
is a lot,
children.
is a lot, 30 children, but he was able to start with 30 children, isn't it? At least doing something for them. And how did you meet them? Because I'm sure the pastor, this man, gave you these children. And then you communicated with them. He probably sent you photos, isn't it? He
Yes.
sent you photos.
So what happened was, when Sahan said that after the mission, when they wanted us, please can you come and meet the orphans and widows in this area, and we went and met them, and we saw them in front of us, and we felt our hearts break because they were looking at us so expectantly.
But it was sorry to interrupt you. It was the first time you went there, or it was even the first time?
Yeah, the
Okay,
first
you,
time.
Very first
you
time.
mentioned this. If you had 30 children, the first time you went there, when you were there.
No,
or
when we
you
were
came
there,
back?
there were so
Okay.
many, hundreds.
Okay.
There were
But after
Just when you came back.
We came back because
Okay.
we realized we can't help
Of
a
course,
lot
I
because
understand
only
now. You understand
So
now.
Sahan contacted the pastor and said, please can you send us names and profiles of
Yeah.
30 of the, you choose 30 of, because he's a local pastor, he would know.
Of course.
So choose 30 of the most vulnerable, they are all needy.
Yeah.
but we can only help 30.
That's good, because you had seen them before with the husband, mothers and so on, and so widows, and you knew already.
Yeah.
So then you came back
And so he sent us the profiles, the names, the ages, and then he said, these are the 30 children. So we said, okay, now you send us, what do you need, what do those children need to
Yes.
start go
Yeah,
to school?
yeah,
Because none of them were going to school.
Of course.
The grandparents told us, we can hardly feed them. We can't send them to school, because to go to school we have to buy them pen, paper, books.
They don't have money.
They don't have money.
They
I
don't
mean-
have money or patience, or they don't know.
In Uganda, this is the thing, primary school education is free, but they expect the children to have uniforms, they expect them
But
to
the
produce
parents
all
or
the
grandparents don't have.
scholastic material.
All the scholastic material you have to bring, not
Yeah.
like in the West. Each one has to bring their own. And these grandparents told them, we can just about even feed them, we find it difficult. We can't send them to school. So this is why we thought, okay, this is something we can do. Let us send these 30 children to primary school, give them a leg up in life. Without education, they won't be able to come out of their poverty. They need some education.
Education.
So we asked the pastor, you tell us, what do we need to send so that they can go to school? So he said, okay, they will need all this. He sent us a list.
A list, yeah.
All these materials, scholastic material, pens, pen, everything, and also
Books and things.
yes, and also school uniform.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, you tell us how much for each child. So Sahan would send the money to the pastor, and the pastor organized for 30 children
Wonderful.
to start going to school.
And then they began by knowing you, isn't it?
Yes, so after that, of course, Sahan would go there twice a year
Wonderful, yeah.
to go and meet them,
Yes.
meet the grandparents or uncles or whoever they were
Yeah.
living with,
Yeah.
and then spend time with them, talking to them, going through everything, because they don't have, remember, these children are the first in their families to ever go to school.
Yeah, how wonderful.
Their
Yeah,
parents
that's
never
good.
went to
That's
school.
good, because they're having this incredible, isn't
Their
it?
grandparents never went to
Yeah.
school. So we would go and sit with them with their books and go through the books with them. How do you, okay, you are doing well in this subject, but you are not doing well in that subject,
Wonderful.
like that. So we
Communication,
spent,
open communication.
yes.
In fact, the second year when we went back, they were very surprised. They said, we never thought you people will come back again. We have had
Oh, they're
people
so happy.
come.
They must be very happy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they thought, oh, these people come, they speak of God's love and they go away and
No.
you never see them again.
That's
So they were really encouraged that we were there the second time. And then in the second year, we increased the number from 30 to 50.
And you would support it even more.
Yes,
50 children.
50 children.
You started with 30. See how God does? You started, you took the initiative, and God provided you.
Yeah.
He knew that you could do more, and He helped you to do more, isn't it?
In fact, you know, when we started, we had no idea where we were headed. And we thought we could provide this primary education and that would be it. But soon we realized primary education is going to get them in there, it's not going to get them anywhere, not
It's
enough.
not enough. So and then you decided to help them with the secondary education and the university. So this is what is incredible, extraordinary, because of course you were not going to leave them like that. You wanted, Suji and Sahan wanted to give them a future, a beautiful future, a good future. Because they started helping, they were attached to them, they were like spiritual children, sons and daughters, and they wanted to do something more. And they couldn't leave them just in the middle. They had to go to the end. So then you're supporting them with their studies in secondary school and at university. Wonderful, beautiful. So, and then from what I know, some of them are already teachers, isn't it? Engineers, isn't it? And more, isn't it? Means different jobs. Wonderful, beautiful. See, that's incredible. It's just an example for many. I know that some people do this and help many children as well, many people in the world. But clearly, many people don't do it. And those who do it, like you, is an honor to be with you and to know you, because this is what many people should do, helping the less fortunate. But I know that some of the children want your support or wise advice. They call you mom and dad, isn't it? Because they got attached to you. They got attached to you because they wouldn't be anything if they were not for you, and they know that.
They don't know that.
So
Actually, I have to say, when we first started, because it was not in the capital, it's so far away, as Sahan was saying, it's a very remote area. Although Uganda, the official language is English.
yes.
If you go to the capital, in the offices and everything, they would speak English. But in these very remote areas, they have their own dialects. There are so many dialects. So these children would not even, they were so lacking in confidence, and they wouldn't even look at us in the eye.
I believe so.
The first couple of years we were there, we would try to call them by name, or if I asked them, what's your name? They would look down and answer. They would not even look at you. Their English was, they could only say, my name is, and then if you ask anything else, they don't know to answer. So we had to talk to them through interpreters
Wow.
when we first started.
Yes.
But today, I'm happy to tell you, they are so confident, they speak English so well. When they see our car coming, because we always we hire a car and go to the areas to meet them. They'll come running,
Wonderful.
surround us, and they speak to us. They are completely changed. But the sad thing is, when they were at primary school, we have actually lost a couple of children, because what I have to explain is, in that part of the world, in Africa, the girls, especially if they're orphans and they are being looked after by extended family, the moment they come of age, they are only 13 years, sometimes 12, 13 years, they are married off.
So it's the downside of the situation, isn't it?
It
Yes.
is the
Because
downside.
of course there's the culture, there's the reality in some countries. But you all know that 13 or 12 or 14 years old to get married is too young. People don't know what they are doing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so they are giving their bodies to people sometimes much older
Much
than
older.
them.
Much older,
And
much
so
older.
and they're so bad treated sometimes, and they don't know what is life, and that's creates us worried and concern, isn't it?
Yeah.
For them, and compassion more and more, and I can feel this interest in them, and I know that because then advice them, many people as well start getting a new mentality, isn't it? I feel that happens like that because they own you their lives, isn't it? And so I think they respect and honor you if you give them advices as well, good advice. And some of you they follow your advices as well.
But it's hard, it's very
I
hard for
understand,
them.
yes.
It's very difficult for them. So one of the things we told them, if you manage to get into secondary school, if you keep coming to school, pass the exams, go from the first grade to the sixth grade, and you get into secondary school, we will be there. We will not abandon you.
Yes,
we will
yes.
be there for you. We will put you through secondary school. And we told the girls as well, we will put you into hostel, because we knew that by that time they are in mid-teens or even coming on to late teens. If they are left in school, at home, they will be married off.
Yes.
Or they keep them at home because the aunt is having more children, more babies, so they say, okay, you are old enough, you stay at home and you look after the babies. You don't need to go to school anymore.
See?
So the girls especially are not allowed or not encouraged to go on with their studies. So what we did was, the moment a girl finished the primary school, We put them in hostel, in boarding, in the secondary boarding school. And the boys also, we put them in boys' boarding school. So they were able to go through with their secondary school education as well and finish it.
That's beautiful.
See, the other thing they, started looking up to us, not only because of the financial support. The way we related to them, when we spoke with them and treated them, it is so different to how they get treated within that culture, because in that culture, the older folk look down on the younger people and they treat them at school. Teachers are herding children with sticks,
Yes.
And so the fact that we were treating them completely different. With
they
some
really
respect.
appreciate.
They really appreciate it.
And they learn another side of love and the real love.
Exactly.
Because if their family members are eating them or the teachers, they will feel, what kind of love is this? It's not love. Maybe they get confused with these feelings. And when they see someone who are treating them good, well, they see God's love flowing, isn't it? The true love flowing to them. And this is what anyone wants to. Everyone wants to be loved. And these kids want love. Anyone wants love. Children, humans, adults, everyone wants love. Especially these children who are suffering so much, who feel abandoned by their own family, feel rejected and hurt by so many around them, and they really want so much to be loved. And when comes people like you, it's like to them it's like God coming to
Actually,
them.
we keep telling them every time we go there, if not for God, we wouldn't be here. We didn't know about you all. We didn't know that there was a village like this or a remote area like this. So we keep telling them it is God who brought us here. That's why I said it's God's sovereignty. He knew that He wanted these children coming out of the poverty cycle, and He loved them enough to send us there. We didn't go because we were good people. We went there because of God's love.
It was the two reasons took you there, isn't it? Sovereignty and compassion.
And compassionate love.
And
God's
love.
compassionate love
And
that He
love.
put in our hearts.
Yes.
And once we started there, so we kept telling them, this is God's love for you. God knows you. He loves you. You might think that you are in a remote area, nobody knows, but God knows. And He loved you enough to send us all the way from Britain to come here, to take you out of your poverty and put you in through school and to educate you. So they know. The good thing is each one of these children know. They send us letters. They have been writing letters to us from the time they went into secondary school. And they tell us, they say, we know, we are so grateful to God. It is God who's brought you all here. And because of that, we have come to this.
It's a way of them knowing really what is God and God's love. Is the way, because if you didn't go there, they wouldn't know that.
No.
They wouldn't know what is God, they wouldn't know what is love, real love. But because of your presence and connection with them and support, they feel really God's flowing love. And they feel that they are loved enough to go through their lives. And this gives them strength to overcome so many obstacles. And their minds changes as well for the good. So that's wonderful. They are more prepared to overcome anything. And that's beautiful. But there are many risks. When you go there, you take risks as well, isn't it? Because, Uganda is a country that suffers a lot with malaria, isn't it? And probably other diseases as well.
And also road traffic, the deaths due to road traffic accidents is unbelievable. Every day you will hear, buses, things crashing, so many people dying. It's
sad.
It's sad. Life has very little value there. Life has very little value there.
And that's why is a present from God to you to go there. For you to go there is so good. And I hear stories sometimes missionaries going missions to these countries and doing such a wonderful things too. But what you do here and supporting them in going there is a wonderful thing.
But you know, because when God wants you to do something, if it's His will and it's His purpose that you do something, He knows how to keep you protected, keep you
Yes,
safe.
that's the reality. So if this, for example, if really God sends you to somewhere and it is Him doing it, He will always protect you. And you are, He's all going to open the ways for you and prepare everything for you, and you come safe, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because some people believe that it's God's will for them to go to certain places, but many times it's not God's will, it's their will, not the God's will. But sometimes it's God's will. And He shows us, He talks to us, and it's clear. Sometimes your case, it was clear, it was God talking to you. And so, and He used you because you are open to do something for Him, isn't it?
Yeah, and also there was a lot. It was a journey for us, and we learned a lot too.
Of course, I
We
agree.
couldn't take what is normal lifestyle, normal practice here with us, because culturally they are so different. Sadly, there are many churches around there,
Yeah.
but the sad thing is the cultural norms supersedes biblical norms. In other words, they have this top-down attitude where if you're a pastor, if you're a leader, if you're an older person, that person has complete control over you. He tells you what to believe, what to do, what not to do.
And then no one can say anything
No
against
one
it.
can say
And
anything
so
else.
no one has the freedom. It's like slavery in a way, because you know in the Western countries they are used to have some freedom to breathe, because we can go to someone if the person is older than us, and if you know that this person is not right, because it doesn't matter. Sometimes old people are not right,
Yeah,
are wrong.
exactly. Yes.
And so if a younger person goes to them and say, look, I believe that this is this way, and they have this freedom to do that, and the older people sometimes respect younger people, and in that way people are able to grow together and to improve and to make a better world. But if you are always thinking that older people know more and know the best, and many times don't, they know less than many people around. And that's why, how can the country go well and the future and progress can go well? No. If the mind is wrong, if the old person or nothing can go well.
I mean, you can live on disputing. You can't even question an older person.
Which is a very bad thing.
You can't even question. You say, look, I don't understand what you're saying and doing. Could you explain? You can't.
And no, because I've had this situation as well. I've seen already the situations when someone wanted another person and say, why this happen like that? And the person that thought was the biggest, thought, wow, go away, you are not being humble because you're asking me this question. Doesn't make sense. So if the person doesn't understand anything, the situation, has all right to go to the one who is making the situation, to ask if he doesn't understand or she doesn't understand, because in this way clarity comes and everything goes well and in evolution. But if someone goes and doesn't understand and they ask the question and no one gives them the clarity, how can it go well? It's just confusion and darkness, isn't it?
Unfortunately, that's their tradition, and traditionally, historically, that's how it's been. It's a very hierarchical society, and it's very, I must say, it's a very male chauvinistic society as well. So that's how they have been historically. It's slowly changing, but very slowly changing now. But the more children go to school and are educated, it's gradually changing. But they hold on to this old customs and traditions.
I believe so,
And because they say, well, this is who we are. This is Uganda. This is Africa. This is what our grandparents did. This is what our great grandparents. So this is.
They are really connected with their roots, isn't it?
It is, and we need to be careful that when we go out, we don't take our norms, cultural norms, and enforce it on them. Because if you do that, they will switch off. They will say, in fact, they say TIA, this is Africa, in other words.
I understand. But in relation to education, I think in that way they are open to learn.
Definitely.
I think in relation to education, which is a good thing around the world, any parents are aware that education and learning how to write and read is one of the most important things for human beings, and is good. It's a good sign.
Because it opens your mind.
And then you can, in that way, you can deal better with these cultures, and from that they can change slowly, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I would say so, because these children, they were growing up, in fact, they even told us, they are growing up in an environment, they don't travel much, they are cocooned, they are living in a very small area. And you do not find any even semi-decent role models. They do not have any decent role models. So on whom do they model their life? They model their lives with the adults around them, who are certainly not role models in any way.
Well, but I believe that role models are those ones who became teachers, like you help those ones. I think if in these societies, if they see a teacher, an engineer, it's like kind of a role model to many people there, because they see that someone achieved something and they are earning because they studied hard and they are well educated. Like we go back to education. Education is so important to humanity, to the world, and anyone can see that. And so if they see someone educated, well educated, and having a job and working, it's like kind of good reputation.
Actually, you are absolutely right. So what we have been doing is, every time as the years went on and we've been going, and some of the children who are older have already gone through secondary school and they are doing their A-level exams or GCSE exams. So what we have been doing is, every time we go there, we gather everybody, we tell them when we are coming, to all of them to gather together in one place in the old primary school grounds, and we always make sure that they all have a meal or something, because they come from far. They come walking far. So, and also it's an incentive for them to all be there as well, and all the extended family, the grandparents, uncles, and these children come. And what we've been doing is, from the time the older children went through secondary school, we got them to stand in front and tell the younger children and the extended family what they experienced, how they are doing. And this is a role model for the younger children.
Of course.
So the younger children get inspired, because they know, oh, we know these older boys and girls.
Yes,
they are like us. They came from the same remote area as us.
And they may think, well, if he did that, I can do the same.
I can do the same.
And this is the role model. They see that one, well, because you invested in them, you gave them money and books and uniforms, and then you encouraged them to study, and just through words and so many things. And they achieved, they became teachers, they became engineers. And so that's incredible for those ones who are still young and want to do something in life. When they see someone, look, see, they are like that because someone helped them. They are doing so well, they are good role model for me, so I want to be like them. So you have another incentive to help even more, and God is helping you even more to support other people, all the young children, to become like the ones you've been helping, and they are already ready in life, well in life.
You see, with this education and the profession, they are breaking out of the small community they live in. They are getting much more exposure to parts of the world, to knowledge and people which they were never had any exposure to. In fact, once when we organized a trip for these youngsters to the capital, I mean, they live in the middle of nowhere, the back of Lyon, we organized a trip to the capital. Now by Western standard, their capital, Kampala, leaves, a lot to be desired. But they wrote back to us saying, oh, we feel we are in heaven. And we think, my God, they look at Kampala and say heaven. That's where they are coming from, to them, what they saw. In Kampala, they've never been to any city like that. It opens their minds up.
Of course they do. You help them to open their minds, to change their minds, and to see the world in a better way. And just with the love that Suji and Sahan have in their hearts from God, this love flows through them, isn't it? And then, because they are filled with this love that you give them, they are able to transfer their love to others around them.
Absolutely.
So,
because one of those girls who became a teacher, she is actually, with her little teaching salary, she is educating, she's putting her younger sisters, younger siblings through to school.
wonderful.
And one of the boys who is now, he's doing civil engineering, he hasn't still finished, he'll be finishing soon.
Yeah.
He's already, because we told him, we will support you till you are standing on your feet with a good job.
Yes.
Then you look after your
With
siblings.
siblings, yes.
So like that, already we can see these children that we have picked up at the beginning are already helping the community.
The community. So they are transferring their God's love that is inside them to the others and helping the others as well in their own ways. And that's wonderful. And changing their lives, changing their own lives and other people's lives, because they had someone that changed their lives to begin with, isn't it? That's a story, incredible story, and I know that you are going to do more and more while you can, and to visit them. They are going there as well soon, isn't it, to Uganda?
Hopefully, at the end, we are praying that God will open the way for us to go there end of this year, because last year we couldn't go because of the lockdown.
COVID.
And 2020 we were there at the beginning, so it's nearly 2.5 years.
So, but normally, from what I know, Suji and Sahan don't stay so long without going to Uganda. They tend to go a couple of times a year to be with them, to help them, to support them. But meanwhile, while they're here, they communicate with them and media, through media, isn't it?
That's right, that's right.
Always. And that's wonderful. And then these people really appreciate you, and they see you as a mother and father, like I said before, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, one thing encouraging, this guy who is doing civil engineering, he told us he wants to now, speaking to colleagues at university, he wants to start a fund. He wants to start a fund to support children.
See?
Coming out of
because they
his
saw
background.
your example. You were the role model for them. And so, because he thought this guy is becoming an engineer because of you. And so he saw that now he can know how to do fundraising to help those ones that were like him, isn't it?
Exactly.
And so he knows that it's not a good situation being in a place on its own without help, and he knows that if it was not for you, he wouldn't be what he is now. And so he puts in his position other kids as well. And he says, look, I have to help them because someone helped me, and they are going to change their lives because I'm going to help them too. And then, because the other kids as well are going to know that someone is helping them, and is going when they are going to help others that are going to need their support too. So helping each other always. And this is what you are here for, to help others, but because of love that God gave us, God gives us. That's why this program is called It's All About Love, because it's all about love, really. It's all about love. Everything you do is because you love God above all, because if it was not for God, you don't do that.
Exactly.
And then because God puts His love in your heart, and then for people, and you love people too. isn't
Exactly.
it?
Exactly.
And it's all about, if it was not for love, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
These kids that became teachers, engineers, and so on, they wouldn't be what they are today. Because if it was not for love, everything is all about love. Life doesn't make sense without love. If you don't have love, you mean dead. You are dead to life. But if you have love, you can do everything. You can do as much as we can. You can transform lives like Saji and Sahan did and are doing. Because I know that you are going to continue doing a lot more for them.
And also, it's a journey for us too, because we are learning a lot too. For example, when we went out there, we went with knowledge of how to do things over here. But when we were out there, we soon learned all the knowledge we have, really, it doesn't work here. And we had to say, God, without your help, what are we going to do here? So it was really stepping into totally unknown
like
area.
babies, isn't
It
it?
is,
It's
yeah,
stepping
so-
by step, like babies, because you are learning a new culture.
Exactly.
You don't know anything about that culture. Your culture doesn't talk in there, but you have to learn what they do there to be like them. Because that's why many people, when they want to help others, they become like the ones they want to help. Otherwise, how can they? They don't know how to help them. So they become, for example, I just finished not long ago 20 episodes of Mother Teresa, and what she did, she could be well in life because she was a teacher. But what she understood is this: she wanted really to help people who really needed help, people in the slums, people who were dying without food. And she understood that the only way to help these people was becoming like them, going to the streets, not eating like normal people, eating just, for example, something else to survive. But then someone told her, look, if you really want to change these people's life, you really have to eat something. And then she made an effort to eat something more. But she would bring some food to these people, always, to them. But always in poverty. And many people didn't understand that, because they would say, look, how can you help these people if you are in poverty? But she understood that the only way to begin with was to be like them, to understand their minds, their behaviors, and they would connect more with her if they saw her like them.
Exactly.
If they saw her in a higher, then they wouldn't be so attached to her. And so the best way to transform their lives would be that one. There's no doubt about it.
Exactly.
And so, and you
It's
as
only
well.
when you live, we have learned it and experience it. It's only when you live, share their lives and live close to them, they are prepared to hear you.
Yes.
If you go out there and try to work with them, while you stay in 4-5-star hotels
No,
and this thing,
doesn't result.
then they don't hear you. All they are interested in you is just bring your money, just bring your money.
I understand.
They do not hear you. Just
Yes.
bring your money. That's all they're interested in.
But
So
you have to
only
live
when
like them.
only when you live close to them, then they start hearing what you have to say.
So yeah, because I not long ago I was reading a story of a missionary from America who went to another country as well. It was in Indonesia, and she really she didn't have food to eat because she didn't have money. She became like, she was rich, but she became very poor then.
Yeah.
And because she wanted to live, to help these people, and she began by going to the slums as well, and she would eat the food that they would offer her. But this food sometimes were not good because the water was contaminated by certain insects and so on, and that she would get diseases as well. She would get diseases because of the food and water they were eating and drinking, but she didn't care. She wanted just a relationship to understand them, to help them, and to bring them to God. It was what she main goal. And so slowly, she started gaining their hearts, and they changed their lives, and they were so changed, and that's this way.
It is. We need to be very careful that when we go there, we are not patronizing them.
Of course.
That is, that is demeaning. You
Yes.
need to value them
Yeah, of
and
course.
relate to them
Like
and
they are.
treat them as valuable human beings.
Yeah, this is all about love. We all need to be treated and to feel that you are treated as a valuable people, and you all are. You all are. In the eyes of God, we are
Exactly.
all valuable. We are all have value in every ways, and there's no doubt about this because we created to love. We all created
Yeah.
to love. That's why it's all about love.
Yeah.
So I believe that you took something from this, the viewers. I believe that you understood the point in here. It's all about love, and just the fact that 14 years ago they decided to go to Uganda because of the call of God, and changed so many lives. It's incredible. It's a treasure. There is a joy to hear those stories, and today people are on their feet, isn't it? These
Yes.
people that you helped are on their feet, and everything because you sense that you had to do because of God, because of compassion, God's compassion, because there's God's sovereignty and love. And those were the three reasons that you did, isn't it, to help them? Because it was not for God's love you don't do that. You don't have this courage and this strength to help them, isn't it?
Exactly. And when you're out there, it's not like being here. Here you can see it on TV, you can turn it off, but when you're out there, it's in your
In the
face.
field.
You can't get away from
No,
it. It's
you
all
can't.
around you.
That's right. It's understandable, and you have to do something. Even if you
Exactly.
don't think that you can, you can. You have to do something.
Exactly.
Because you are more fortunate than these people, and you want to put you give their lives, make their lives heaven out of it, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's what we need. We need to hear, and that's incredible story. It's an extraordinary story, an example to so many people. You are so much role models to many people, and I really appreciate having you here today and getting to know you, what you do, and you come back sometimes here to be with us, to explore things, to tell us what you are doing again now with these other people, the children and grown-ups. And we really appreciate and really want you to come again, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for having
We are
us.
very happy. Thank you. It's a pleasure, and it's a pleasure to be with you and having
Thank
you
you.
here, okay?
Thank you for your
And
time.
so I hope you enjoyed SUGI and SAHAN. Like I said, you are going to have them again and to listen, to hear their stories and to inspire you. And I hope really you took something from here. Really. I'm very impressed and I'm very happy to have you here, and I hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for listening to us, for being with us. And by now, God bless you.